up, everybody? This is Franz again. We have lots of stuff going on, so let's get right to it. What are the trends doing? Now, last week we were already talking about shifts happening in the Forex markets here. We are looking at breakouts all over the place while the indices keep running and the metals don't know what they should be doing. So let's let's bring us up to date what has happened here for the week. First, we're starting with some Forex stuff before we go to indices and then the metals. The euro will be in focus first. Now here we're looking at the weekly chart of the euro yen. Last week we were pointing out how the breakouts occurred. The overall time frame is up. If you don't know what that means right now, please watch the video from last week where this is explained. And now we see the market coming up quite a bit. We are above the balance zone on the monthly as well as on our weekly trading time frame. And if you want to check the daily, if this is where you are active, the same is true as well. Breakouts have occurred. You have a trending situation. So this is very tradable for us. And since the monthly chart just broke out, even this week where we see a retracement, where we see some bears coming into the market, we are holding long positions. We are not quitting them. We see momentum gaining speed as well. And of course, as a trend follower, we always have the principle of patience in every trade. And the same is true here. Even though we did have this huge move to the upside, now there is bearish market action coming in this week. We probably see a correction. Remember, the balance zone is always that magnet where the market wants to come back to. And depending on how much momentum is in here, it will take its time for the market to really move and come up. But we are holding longs. We are in a good trade here, in my opinion, long term in the euro yen by buying this market. Now, the euro dollar is not as clear as the euro yen, even though the market is also coming up after it failed to come down here. Watch last week's video to find out more about that. We did have the long breakout here, market coming up, but the overall time frame, our monthly chart, is not trending up, also explained in last week's video. Now, this week has been green again, but the market is hitting heavy resistance up here. Let's see where it trades to. We want to keep stops tight in the euro dollar differently than in the euro yen, where the market is just overall trending as well as on our trading time frame. But in the euro dollar, it needs some more time to find out how the market is going to react to this resistance area, and if it stops us out soon, because we do see bears coming in and we do see bears taking over, market heading back into the balance zone. We don't know yet. We are staying long. We are against the trend in this one. Not something that is usually recommended when you are the trend follower. You want to wait until you have something that you can follow, an initial move. And this initial move here is nothing more than the move that the monthly chart does to give you the first breakout fractal. And only when this is taken on the monthly, you have a chance for continuous up move. In the euro yen, this has happened already. Here it still needs to happen. Euro Swiss franc is also a euro pair that is breaking out. I have marked the breakout here. The overall time frame is also about to break out. Nothing happened here for a long time. Let's see if this is successful. For the end of this week, this will definitely stay a long position. Now let's move over to some yen pairs. Yen, very interesting. Now US dollar yen here has been of interest in the last couple of months, but we haven't looked at it in the last couple of weeks. Now what you see here, this arrow has actually been marked by myself a couple of months ago in a video where we said that the market could turn at this point. It could also come lower and then turn and head out. Now let me remove this. As you can see, we did come lower. We did go after this huge move to the upside below the balance zone to correct this movement, but now we are establishing long breakouts with this fractal here in the overall trend direction, which is, in my opinion, still upwards. When we take a look at the monthly chart here for a second, which is the overall time frame, we have a trend, we have a correction, and now the trend could be continued and this market might hit the 126 mark again. Now in order to trade that move from the 112 where we are now to 126, we want to catch the breakouts of this correction that had been going on. In order to do that, you want to buy the fractal as I have marked it, and it had been hit at the beginning of this week, but as you can see, the price just went barely above the fractal level at 114.40, then retraced and comes now back into the balance zone. Now we have a stop right below the balance zone, and we want to wait and see if this market can pick it up and show us a successful breakout as it has hit this first fractal, or the correction keeps on going and we'll have to exit with a loss. Now that could still happen in the US dollar yen. Australian dollar yen, breakout on the monthly and on the weekly here just about to happen. Probably opening gap up on Sunday and then taking this long. This level here is a monthly and weekly breakout. Now just following the fractals, just following the market, the price wherever it goes. We are buying this with low risk as usual. New Zealand dollar yen, we have mentioned it 2 weeks ago, I think, with a fractal breakout down here, and then the monthly breakout occurring at this level. Price is strong, hasn't been this strong this week, but we're holding longs and we're looking to add to this trend as the overall time frame in the New Zealand dollar yen is also breaking out here. Check this out. We have an uptrend, a correction, and now we have a first fractal that could take the market to old highs at the 94.50 level. We'll really have to wait and see, but we're definitely going to trade that probability here again with a low risk. British pound also interesting for the week. We have a British pound US dollar that is not trending to the upside on the monthly chart. Now that means we have huge move to the downside on the British pound US dollar. We have huge divergence between the momentum and the price. As you can see, price is lower, momentum didn't make it down here where it was previously when it hit those lows that were gone below over here. Now we're trading into the balance zone. Now remember, balance zone, the place where the price is if there is no new information. A correction is what's happening in the balance zone, and after a trend like that, the market needs to level itself out, and it does that in the balance zone. We never know which of the resistance, in this case lines, will be hit. It could also go further and hit that previous fractal on the opposite side to find resistance correct, and then give us on the monthly chart in somewhere here, or maybe even in here, the opportunity to take this long. Now this is what the trend follower does. If you're more aggressive, you can take it long here as it trades into the balance zone. But this is exactly like what's going on in the Euro US dollar. You even have the same divergence going on in that pair. You have overall no uptrend, and therefore the position that you would take in here is definitely a small one, and your stop is really tight because you're not trending, you're overall not trending, and that's important to realize. But something might be setting up, and we don't know how far it goes and how much it's going to yield, and therefore we are participating. British pound US dollar is a long position, while in the British pound Australian, where we traded all of this short, actually the best trend here in 2017 for us as a trend trader, in the Forex and indice markets, we are getting a new fractal sell signal here at the end of this week. We are simply selling in the overall trend direction. Now, since this is all short, when we take a look at the monthly, you can see we are below the balance zone, and as long as the price keeps moving away in the same direction from that balance zone overall, we're trading the breakouts on the shorter time frame, which is the weekly or the daily chart. And this is what is going on in the British pound Australian, and it might as well hit new lows at 157, or maybe even hit those lows which were originally projected by myself to be hit in this ongoing downtrend. But of course you have these huge corrections, and it even stopped us out. We're not active, we haven't been active for months now, in the British pound Australian, but we're taking it up again as the price shows us that there might be the one or the other opportunity to take here. Now that's it for the very interesting breakouts and shifts in the Forex markets. Now indices really boring. Actually, the only thing next to the British pound Australian trend that has really been going here for the year, the fractal breakouts are marked for you already. This week has been so bullish again in the US indices. Very, very nice for us that this just keeps on moving. Even though the momentum is lacking, um, the the price is the primary indicator for us, and as long as it keeps moving, we'll just move stops higher along the way and let the market play out. And we don't know how long it takes and how long it goes, but this is already here about a 10% profit on the total equity of the account if you trade it with appropriate risk management. Just about a 4-to-1 R trade as of now, but we don't know how far it will keep on going. Now the Nikkei index hasn't been that thankful here. We do have breakouts, we do have an overall situation that is long, but no momentum builds up in this market here. Now this has a very, very interesting basic or underlying situation, which I will talk about in one separate video in the coming weeks. For next week, for the next 2-3 weeks, I'm actually seeing this much lower. It could correct back down into the 19,700 level, hopefully bounce there and then continue up. But this has been so dramatically up, it needs to be corrected. Now we have not seen too much of price action. No volatility in here, just boring like crazy, especially this week. And I'm guessing there will be this dip down and then continuation of upside movement. But what do I know? This is just kind of the gut feeling speaking, purely technically, and what you should pay attention to when you trade. You are simply following the rules. The rules are telling you to be long, and even if the market is so boring and it doesn't do anything, you're staying long. As long as you're not stopped out, as long as your exit rules do not apply, you stay long and you wait for the market to do whatever it wants to do. Last indice we're looking at is the UK FTSE index. Very, very interesting. Let me just open up the right chart here. This is the one. We're looking at old all-time highs here in the area of 7,000. They were broken here at this level. This was like the third or fourth attempt, I think, and then the market came back into the balance zone. Now we were assuming that since the old all-time highs were hit, and this seems to be a really important resistance level, the market's going to correct a little bit lower, go below the balance zone, take a while, and then maybe hit new highs. But what happened is simply a minor correction in this huge uptrend that has been going on since July 2016 in the FTSE, that the market simply gives you the fractal inside the balance zone. Since we did not go long down here, we were simply taking the breakout here. We have not been stopped out so far. The last fractal was down here, that where our stop was located, and by the closing, or with the closing of this week's candle, we do have a new stop as a new fractal is created inside the balance zone. We bought right there at the breakout. This is the stop. Not a lot of profit here. We're staying long all this time, not a lot of profit. As you can see, the momentum is also not moving, but we are at least not losing any money here. We're following the market, and since we never know how far it goes and how much power, speed, and momentum the trend is carrying, we just got to take whatever it offers us. And here in the FTSE, at least we are not taking a loss, and that's also a win for us. We don't know yet if we're gonna get stopped out, but looking at this momentum, we have a huge divergence in here. When you take a look at the price and you take a look at the momentum, you see that we have more than a triple divergence in here. Very, very bearish actually as a sign, but these corrections in here are minor corrections. Now, if you don't know what that means, you want to watch my trend following approach explained video. Minor corrections, and the market is now looking for a major correction, and it's just very likely that this stop will get hit. We'll see lower prices, price coming back to the 7,000 or even 6.8 mark, and then if it continues to be bullish and actually continue to trend up. But right now, this does not seem to be that the best bull market. It's not to be compared to the S&P. Now these were the indices. Let's now take a final look here. Last market for the day, gold. Very interesting stuff happening. Initial move, this is the breakout fractal on the monthly chart. Let me mark this here with a little bit of a thicker line. This is the monthly overall breakout, and we are, after the initial move had happened, in a correction. This correction did not make a new low below the previous lows. Instead, we are kind of trading in between the 1350 to the 1100 mark. We do have some failed long breakouts here. We have one here. This one didn't get hit. And now we have a sell fractal that was hit to continue probably the old downtrend from over here. Right now it's only a theory that this is the initial up move of the monthly. Only when it's hit and when the trend continues, this will have been the initial up move. We don't know yet. Therefore, we want to take signals in the old trend direction as well to just follow the market, because we don't know if from up here we'll see a new low here giving us a divergence and then the market is turning. Therefore, we just follow. What happened here last week, we were mentioning it, we were selling, and silver is just the same thing. We're selling this, and it looked pretty strong to the downside. We're closing below the breakout, but this week, immediately after it went below the balance zone, taking that breakout, we have buyers coming in defending this 1200 level. In my case here, this is a reason to exit the short, simply because right after we went in, the market shows us that there are not too many bears in here. It doesn't seem to be going, and I just want to minimize my loss at a point where I'm in the middle of a huge correction. I'm just trying to find the next valid breakout, and we already failed here. Now we failed here. It's very dangerous in these corrections. As a trend trader, you get stopped out so many times with your breakout entries that you really want to take very small positions, and then something like this just doesn't bother you. If again you see it doesn't get going, you just get out. You're not really giving the market too much time here, as it from the very beginning shows you it just doesn't want to get going. Now that's the update for the week. I thank you very much for watching again. Post a comment, like the video, and I see you next week.